Hello and welcome to the 10th episode of the Knitting Teaspoon podcast. I am Lisbeth, your host, and this is a podcast which is mostly about knitting, but I do other crafts as well, as you will see this week because, I don't know, the weather has been so warm. It's April 20 today, it's Friday. You will not see this before Saturday because I record and edit on Fridays and then I upload on Saturdays. But it has been 29 degrees outside, which has been record high for the Netherlands, at least in the part where I live. And that was yesterday. Today it's 26 degrees, but it feels like summer. I think we get around maybe 10 to 15 days above 30 degrees Celsius, that is. So I think that's somewhere around 85 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm not really sure about that. You should Google if you really want to know. But it has been extremely hot. It is like the weather has completely skipped spring all of a sudden and then went straight into summer. And I do enjoy a little bit of heat, but it's come so quickly that I'm not really prepared. I think this week I was walking around in my Marius sweater, which is a heavier weight. I knitted heavier weight. You can knit it any weight you want. Colorwork Norwegian style sweater, and now I feel like this is a cotton shirt, and it's already very warm. Anyway, enough about the weather. Let's get right into what we're here for. I noticed that I completely forget to mention this sometimes, but I am so glad that you're here. So welcome to any viewers that are here. It means a lot that you take a little bit of time out of your days to spend it with me and to talk about what I'm up to. Of course, you're also free to leave comments below. I think I will ask you to do so, and you will see why later on in this episode, I guess. But I'm so happy you're here. I'm also very happy if I see people subscribe. I'm also very happy with followers on Instagram, of course. Although, I don't know, YouTube means a little bit more to me because I've put a little bit more effort in recording an episode versus taking one nice picture and writing a little bit about it. You know, it just means more to me. So thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you will enjoy this show. So let's get on with it. I said that I had not been knitting a lot this week. Well, I don't know to what extent this is true, but I have been knitting only on one project, or maybe I put in 1 or 2 rows in another project. I don't know. But I've only been knitting on the socks for my boyfriend, and I put in a marker where I was last time, or I think it was 2 rows below where I was last time or something like that, because it's hard to put a marker exactly in a row where you are and then still knit over those stitches. I prefer to put it slightly below so that it's not in my way when I'm knitting. Also, I counted the rows. This was 50 rows in, and I know that for my boyfriend, these socks are for my boyfriend, that I will have to knit to 70 rows, and then I start increasing for the gusset. And as you can see, I've turned the heel and knit the entire leg of the sock and finished the ribbing, and I'm very proud of that. Knitting with bamboo needles goes quite slowly for me. Not that slow, I guess, but slow compared to metal needles. I don't know why I chose to knit on wooden needles. I think because I value those needles less, and this was my office knitting. This week I have not only been knitting at the office, little spoiler there. And I finished the other sock too. So I have a finished pair of socks for my boyfriend. Yay! As you can see, well, not entirely finished because, I still have some ends to weave in. I don't really like weaving in ends, but the reason I did not do this yet is that I really just got them off the needles. I postponed recording this episode until I had them finished, and now I do have them finished. So there you go. A finished pair of socks, a finished object, even though I still need to weave in the ends. And I'm really glad that they are finished now. Yeah, I think my boyfriend will love these socks. These will be his 7th pair, but he tends to wear through his socks quite quickly. I don't know exactly why this is. I know he did have some issues with his toes in the past. Not very serious issues, but he had to wear some tape around his toe for quite some time, and I think this may have caused some extra wear and tear on the sock. So maybe that's the cause of it, because his gaps on his toes were, well, the gaps in his socks that I had to fix so far have been mostly around the toes. I don't think in my socks I wear them around the heel, so I don't know. But I guess everyone is different on their socks, so you know. Anyway, he will be very happy that he has some new nice and warm woolen socks to add to his collection, even though it's almost 30 degrees outside. Yeah, maybe he'll need them next week, because, you know, in April the weather can be all over the place. Who knows, maybe in a week's time we will have snow again. But, you know, for now it's very hot, and yeah, so nice warm socks in hot weather, because I tend to get knitting finished when it's hot, I guess. Anyway, not really actually. I knit all the time. Anyway, apart from knitting, it has also been lovely weather to put my wheel outside and spin on my balcony, and I did that. And there's no more view of lovely blossoms like there was last week, because the transition to this summery kind of weather has been so fast. All the blossoms have completely run out now, and I am looking at a very leafy green set of trees now, which is lovely to look at also, so that's fine by me. So yeah, so I've been spinning, and I've still been spinning on my spin spool fiber. This is 100% merino, and this is how much I got done this week. And well, I'd say I'm on my way. I think I'm like 1/3 of the way through this braid now. There's still a bit of an end, because, you know, from this kind of fibery bit, I don't know, maybe if you guys are not spinners, you will think it's weird that it has this kind of fluffy tail, but this is actually the fiber as it is before you spin it, and then this part you can easily draft, and then with twisting the yarn around you will get yarn, and then the wheel rolls it up on the bobbin, and then there you go. You have a bobbin that is slowly filling with yarn, or 1 ply of yarn, because unfortunately you can't spin 4 ply in one go, or maybe you can, I don't know. I don't know how, if it's possible. I don't know. I'm not a pro anyway. But, you know, spinning, and yeah, I've made quite some progress, and I'm very happy with it. I don't know how my plans will be, because I was hoping to have it finished before next weekend, but I'm not really sure how that will go, although next week is a holiday week again in the Netherlands. Today is April 20, and next week will be April 27, which is the birthday of our king. Now, I'm not a particularly great fan of monarchy, but as a country, we celebrate the birthday of our king, and there's a lot of like flea markets around town. There's also a lot of big parties. There will be a lot of people dressing up in orange, probably, or maybe red, white, and blue. Like we have a flag in 3 colors, and then we have something in Dutch it's called a wimpel. I don't know if it even has a translation, but it's like a ribbon that goes along with the flag, and it's orange. I don't know, maybe you know what I mean, maybe you don't. I don't care. You know, if you really want to know, you can look it up, I guess. But this part is orange, and it's definitely our national color. And next week will be a holiday, and I hope that the noise will not be too loud to be able to podcast. Otherwise, I may record on another day next week. But I will have a longer weekend next week, so maybe I get some more spinning done. Maybe not before the podcast, but hopefully before I go to see my grandparents on the Sunday. Yeah, that would be very nice to, you know, show my grandma that I'm actually using her wheel. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, you know, I am sometimes wondering if this is even the same thickness as the other ply that I make, but I don't know. I really don't know how to control this. I feel like overall, like the yarn, the plies seem to be quite even, but then I know there's a lot of thick and thin spots in my spinning, and I really don't know how to improve this. Anyway, I think just a lot of practice will probably do the trick at some point. And now I would like to move on to my next project. And this is not a project that you've seen before. Unfortunately, all of my other projects did not see any love this week, or just a very minor bit of love, so little that I'm not even going to talk about it. But I did start 2 more projects, and they are both sewing projects and also sewing finished objects. So first of all is this project bag which I made, and I filled it with some yarn just to show you guys that this is the amount of yarn that fits in. I will open it now. I'm not really sure if this is going to be the final string, because these are just some shoelaces that I popped through there. But, you know, I just wanted to see if it worked. But it is a drawstring bag. It opens up like this. And you can see that I've put my enamel pin on there. I told you I had another one from long ago, and it is from... Well, not from before I was a knitter, because I've basically knit all my life, but it has been from before I was totally knitting addicted, that's sure. So this is my I Love Crafting enamel pin, the octopus from, I think it was Tea Turtle. And this one I got from my guitar school years ago. I don't know if I've ever told you guys this, but in the intro and at the end of every episode, or every... I started doing it at the end later, but you can hear a little bit of myself playing the guitar. And I think I also forget to mention every time that I do leave a lot of links about what I talk about in the... comment section on YouTube. So I type out a lot of notes and I leave a lot of links. If anything, if I discuss anything that you might be interested in, I leave links to shops or brands or project pages. I mean, I don't know what you guys would be interested in, but you know, if you could of course tell me. But I think it's nice to just leave easy links so that you can just click on it after watching the episode, and I give a little bit of a explanation of what I'm talking about at the time as well, so that you can easily find it. Now I would like to show you the inside of the bag, but first I will need to take out the yarn first, because I put in some skeins of yarn that or balls of yarn. I don't know, what would you call this shape? Donuts? Maybe? Is donuts of yarn a thing? I don't know. But this is Pickles Pure Wool. It's a fingering weight pure rustic wool. I thought it was Norwegian wool, but it doesn't say so on the label that the wool is actually Norwegian. But Pickles is a Norwegian brand, and I purchased this when I was in the pickle shop in Oslo last October. around the Oslo Strikke Festival, or the Oslo Knitting Festival, which I attended. So this was not at the festival, but just in the shop. But you know, when you go to Norway, you have to make a yarn shop tour right before you go to a knitting festival. I purchased 4 skeins of this, and ooh, there's some blue stuff coming from my from my bag. Anyway, 4 skeins of this to make me a sweater at some point, but this is not what I was going to talk to you about. But I was just trying to show you guys that you could fit in a fingering weight sweater's quantity of yarn in this kind of project bag. And I'm hoping that this way you can see the inside of the bag. There is a tiny pocket here to put in some stuff. I don't know what I would put in there, but you know, maybe at some point it will come in handy. And yeah, and you can zip it or draw it close this way, and then you have these very long ends that you can tie a knot in or something. I don't know. I've never really used a project bag before, so this is my first ever project bag, and I've made it entirely out of scrappy bits of fabric that I had lying around. You will probably recognize this fabric because I have made a Rosa shirt out of it. I have completely forgotten to mention, but I am wearing a Rosa shirt today as well. This one, however, is out of a different fabric, as you can see. You know, just not the same. Anyway, sometimes I feel so stupid when I'm podcasting. Anyway. And then there's some other fiber that I had some leftovers of. I have made I don't know what you call this type of garment. I would say something like a bathing robe or morning gown or whatever. It's the kind of long jacket that you wear inside over your pajamas, I guess, or inside when you're cold. I totally love those type of garments, and last summer I was feeling too warm to use a regular one because they tend to be out of quite thick and fluffy fibers, or a lot of them are, and all of mine to that point were. So I decided to make one for myself in this blue color. And I was going to make one in a darker blue for my boyfriend as well, but this never happened until this moment. Oops. You know, that's how you purchase more fiber or fabric or yarn than than you can ever use. But I decided to use some of the leftovers for a bottom in this part, and then I've made curtains for my living room in this blue and white. I think it's called gingham, but I'm not really sure what kind of pattern this is called. In Dutch we say boerenbont, which is something like farmers bont. I don't know if bont's well, farmers multicolored fabric. Yeah. And the pocket is also lined with this the same blue and white or teal and white fabric, and the outside is in the fishy fabric again. And yeah, it was a lot of fun to make it, and it was actually a very quick project. I think on one evening I decided that I was going to make a project bag, or try and make a project bag, because I'd never made one before. I've never owned one before, so I didn't even know how to use it really. Mostly I have my projects lying around my desk, and then I just pick up a knit. But I think they may come in handy for carrying them around to other places, so that they don't get messed up with pencils and all kinds of other stuff. I don't know. We will see how useful it turns out to be. But yeah, I was cutting. Well, I actually designed this thing myself as well. I just thought, well, approximately this wide by this high would be a nice size for a project bag, and then I think this wide would do, and that means that my bottom will be a certain size, and so I just figured out how to cut the parts. All the parts in this pattern that I've made are rectangles, so it's quite easy, except for when you actually have to put it together. When I was cutting out the pattern pieces, I had a size left over, or a piece of paper left over that was approximately this size, so that's why the pocket is this size. So I cut out the number of required pattern pieces, and I've lined them all with how do you call this? Something to make the fabric stiffer. God, English words, it's difficult. I think it's called interfacing. I'm going with interfacing. But I've interfaced all the pieces except for the drawstring part at the top, which makes it somewhat less see-through-y, although even from here I can see the fishy pattern, so I think maybe you can see it too, or maybe you were able to see the other parts, but then again I'm looking towards my studio light and there's no light source behind me, so I don't know what you guys will see. Anyway, I will see while I'm editing. Anyway, I really like this project bag. It's my first project bag. I'm very proud of it, and I know that there's a lot of beginner's mistakes because I tried to turn it inside out through a gap that was like this, well, not twice this size, but it was really too small to turn it inside out. So at some point I decided, no, this is not going to work. I have to rip out a part of the seam, then redid a part of the seam, and then I tried to sew this like stitching in the ditch, like seaming right through where the seam was before, and at some points I succeeded quite good at doing so. So this seems very nice here, and then there's some parts where it didn't go that great, like around here you can see that it's a bit all over the place, and there's a little bit more on this part. But then when you look on the inside, yeah, I really pinned it to make it line up properly there as well, but it really didn't. So I don't know what happened there, but I still have a lot to learn about making project bags. Now, while I was cutting out pieces for my project bag, I did not cut out one set of pattern pieces. I cut out a second, enough for a second one as well. And you can see that in this version I completely skipped the idea of trying to stitch in the ditch and just went like on an even, or as even as possible, because I see that it's, well, it's not 100% perfect, but it's handmade, so it's okay. So I made a second one, and this one is a little bit different, as you can see, because it has this on the sides, and the inside is entirely the teal and blue again, with again a fishy pocket. And I think actually it's possible to turn this thing inside out if someone would like that. And I decided that because this is my 10th episode, I would like to give away something that to my viewers, because I really I never thought that I would get this far. Like, I can't believe that I'm already 10 episodes in, that I've been doing this for 2.5 months now, and that it has become such a thing in my life to just sit down every week to spend some time talking about what I've been up to, and yeah, sometimes also sharing about this with other podcast viewers, to have a little bit of conversation going about it. So I decided that I wanted to do a giveaway. So you will stand a chance to win this project bag. And I decided to go dive a little bit through my stash, and I will also give away this skein of Zauberball. Zauberball, it's German sock yarn, one skein. I was going to use it for a project that I realize now that I'm never going to make this again. I needed 2 skeins for this project. I started with the other skein, so the other one is not as neat as this one. So I will add that in the project bag. I will find a drawstring for the bag before I give it away, because I don't feel it would be a finished something to give away if I didn't. And I think I will add some more stuff, maybe some minis from projects that I've used in the past or made in the past. I will see, but I think I will add some more to it. And what you have to do in order to enter this giveaway is, well, leave a comment below this video. I will give you some time to do this, because I can see that people take some time to view my episodes, and especially with the nice weather that has been around lately, I don't expect everyone to stay inside and watch podcast episodes. I mean, at a dreary day, it seems like a perfect idea. With this kind of weather, I can't imagine that people just go outside and can't even see their screens properly, because you will need a very bright screen to work up against it. Of course, I don't know, maybe you are in another type of weather, so I don't know. But anyway, if you like to watch episodes on Friday or whatever, I don't know, I will give you some time. So I think by the time that episode 12 comes around, I will announce the winner of this giveaway. So I would like you to leave a comment, maybe say something what you like about this podcast. I would also like to hear pattern recommendations, so you can choose either one of them. And if there's anything, I don't know if there's anything, so this is optional to add this to your comment. You could also say something that you would recommend as an improvement for this podcast. So maybe there's something like the sound quality, or maybe I'm using words wrong. Maybe I'm butchering up English words because I'm not a native speaker, I'm Dutch. So if you have any suggestions for improvements, I would really appreciate those. So please let me know if there's anything. Of course, if there's not anything, if you like it the way it is, that's great too. I mean, that would be a huge compliment, I guess. So yeah, that's what you can do to enter this giveaway. So yeah, I hope you will, because it really means a lot to me that you guys are viewing this, and the fact that you guys are watching my videos and liking them and subscribing to my channel. This just gives me the energy to continue doing what I do. So yeah, I really appreciate that. I will also announce this on Instagram, I guess, but then I will require people to watch the episode, because otherwise they won't know what to do. Anyway, there's one more thing that I would like to talk about to you. No, there's 2 more things. There's 2 more things, but one is not yarn related, and I will talk about it first. And the other one is, so stay tuned if you're interested. So this week, my boyfriend and I have been working again on our project of doing things together that are not gaming together. And this week we were painting, but this time not on hedgehogs, but on canvas. And yeah, we used watercolor paint, and it is called écoline in Dutch and in French, and Google Translate doesn't seem to know what it's called in English, so I'm just going with watercolor. And we made these 2 paintings. I don't know if they look like anything, but to me, this just makes me so happy. Like there are so many colors, and to see how the colors blend, because you use water for this, like in this area and around here you can see it so much. I just really want to start trying to dye yarn at some point, so I may just hop over to some website and order me some yarn dye, and maybe see if I can find some second-hand cooking pots somewhere to dye in, because I read that it's not a very good idea to do this in the same pots as you use for cooking, so I probably will keep it safe and not do that. And yeah, so those are the pictures that we made, and yeah, they are this one turned out looking a little bit like an eye in some direction. I think in this direction you can see it most clearly, but yeah, they're not perfect, but they were a lot of fun to make. So yeah, I just thought I wanted to share that with you guys. So, and the last thing that I want to talk about is 2 books that I've received last week. These are a very much belated birthday present, partially because my boyfriend initially gave me a present that, well, let's say I wasn't too excited about. He wanted to go video gaming with a virtual reality glasses on and go kill zombies, and somehow he thought that I would be very excited about this. And I don't know why, but even though the idea doesn't not necessarily sound like very terrible to me, and I was just like very disappointed, because I felt like he had planned this event more with himself in mind than with me in mind, and I don't know. I was just very disappointed at first, and so my boyfriend decided that he was going to take back his gift. We never went so far, but maybe at some point we will. I don't know. We will see how that goes. But he decided to take back his gift and give me something else instead. So he ordered some books online, and those are the Japanese Knitting Stitch Bible. It's a book that I've seen on several other podcasts before, and yeah, ever since I've seen it, I just knew I wanted to have it, because it contains, well, let me just see if I can find a page that I can show you. I guess it won't be against any pattern copyrights if I just show you the inside page, but these kind of patterns, they are just so gorgeous, and everything is charted, and it just looks amazing. I would really like to make something with these patterns, and I don't know what yet, but I think these kinds of books are so inspiring. So yeah, I really wanted to have this book, and now I have it, and I'm very happy with it. It feels so silly to be so happy with a book and not that happy with something that we could do together, because I really want to be an open-minded person, and I want to be open to new experiences, but sometimes there's just some experiences in life that I'm not really looking for. I mean, it's fine if someone wants to go bungee jumping, but I would be terrified of doing something like that. And if you want to do it, it's your party. Go ahead, do it. But don't surprise me on my birthday with a day of going bungee jumping, because I will just be terrified. I won't like it. And I don't know if this is a bad thing, like not liking your gift and then expressing that you're unhappy with it. But then again, I feel like if you pretend to be happy with the gift that you're really not happy with, then maybe you end up getting all kinds of gifts that you don't like. It's better to be clear about what you like and what you don't like sometimes. Anyway. And he just did not give me one book, he gave me 2. This is the Viking patterns for knitters, and it is also a cable, mostly cable book, I think, or mostly cable patterns. And yeah, it just looks gorgeous. And my boyfriend really liked the idea that it was called Viking. It seemed a cool name. So yeah, I'm not really sure if or when I will ever get around to knitting it, but the book is also like covered in these ancient pictures from where the inspiration came from ancient Swedish, Norwegian. I don't know if the Vikings were anywhere else. I think Icelandic maybe. I don't know, but it's a lovely book, and I have not found the time yet to read through it entirely, but I will at some point. And yeah, I'm very happy to have these two in my knitting book collection, and at some point I will definitely do something with it, because these kind of books are so inspiring. Even if you end up not doing any pattern that is in there exactly as it's written, usually these kind of patterns are just so inspiring. You can always alter a pattern a little bit to make it fit exactly what you like. So with that, I would like to end this episode. So thank you so much for joining me. It has been a lot of fun. I really noticed that my energy goes up when I talk about this. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me. If you like this episode, please like and subscribe to this video, and don't forget to enter the giveaway that I talked about before. And yeah, so see you guys next week, I guess. So bye. And I was going to give honor to my name of the Knitting Teaspoon by drinking some tea during this podcast out of my Paddington mug. This is Clipper tea. It's green tea with raspberry and mint flavor. It's delicious, at least I think so. British tea, so maybe you guys know this as well. I think it's British, by the way. I'm not really sure about that. But yeah, so my springtime mug, even though it feels like summer. And I don't use teaspoon because I don't use sugar in my tea. But, you know, tea. I love tea. Cheers.